Hi, happy Wednesday, and welcome to another edition of Time Out Overtime on the Time Out Overtime YouTube channel. I'm your host, Rick Arsenal. You know the drill. If you haven't done so yet, please get down there in the corner and smash that like and subscribe button. Well, it's been a very, you used the word tumultuous day for me, but, the old saying, Mama always said there'd be days like this. That's what I went through today. I don't feel like doing a lot of talking. I'll do my sponsor commitments, get you caught up on everything going on, make a few comments on Bill Belichick and Mike Kafka, and that'll do it. Um, let's get our sponsorships out of the way here first, shall we? Finish Line Family Restaurant has been serving our community on Carlton Road in Hillsdale. Been serving our community now for the better part of more than 40 years, 4 decades. And there's a reason for it. They've been a staple in this community, and I can't imagine where we would have been without them. I can look. This is a testimonial for me. This is by far the best sit-down restaurant in the county. Okay, and there's a reason for it. Open 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. every day, Fridays, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Award-winning breakfast served all day, fast, friendly service, great family atmosphere, a lot of new menu items. And, hey, it's got everything you want. Comfort food in a fast, friendly family atmosphere. Like I said, fast, friendly service. Award-winning breakfast served all day. I can't say enough good things about the Finish Line Family Restaurant on Carlton Road at Hillsdale. And I can guarantee you, when you fuel up with food from the Finish Line Family Restaurant, I'll see you there. We're also brought to you in part by Barrett Insurance in Jonesville on the corner of M99 and US 12, 517-849-1000, barrettins.com. That's Barrett Insurance, protecting your dreams. Once again, on M99 and US 12 in downtown Jonesville, 517-849-1000, Barrett Insurance, protecting your dreams. That's barrettins.com. So last night, Pistons had the lead pretty much most of the game. It ended up close at the end, but they ended up beating the Nuggets 109-107. Good night for Tobias Harris and Cade. They led the way. As the trade deadline approaches, what are the Pistons now? 34-11? I think so. As the trade deadline approaches, it's a week from tomorrow, February 5th. I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty positive Trajan Langdon is going to do something. Okay. And we're going to have to wait 8 days yet, I suppose, to see exactly what that is. But I'll be very surprised if he doesn't do anything. And keep one thing in mind, too. They haven't, due to a quirk in the schedule, they haven't played the Raptors or the Thunder at all yet this year. They got them coming up next month here. So All-Star Weekend, as I said, the trade deadline is February 5th. All-Star Weekend is, that's 3 weekends away yet. Okay, so there'll be a brief hiatus for All-Star Weekend. There are 3 or 4 days. I think it's February 13th through the 15th, something like that. It's the weekend. I think it's the weekend before Ash Wednesday. Ash Wednesday, I think it's Wednesday the 18th, which would mean Fat Tuesday is the 17th, of course, Punchki Day. Anyway, Red Wings lost last night to the LA Kings 3-1. Tied it up on a power play with less than 2 minutes to go. Kings scored an empty net goal. That was the game. They move on from that. Wasn't one of their better efforts, I didn't think, offensively. As I told you before, they'll be without Simon Edmondson until after the Olympic break. So the Wings are still in second place yet, a point or two behind Tampa. Look, they've got I don't know if Heisman's going to do anything at the trade deadline or not. Trade deadline, because of the Winter Olympics, is very late this year. Like it's like what, March 7th or 8th, something like that. It's just 4 or 5 weeks before the end of the season. I think maybe the trade deadline should have been prior to the Olympic Games as opposed to afterwards. Wings have a game tomorrow night at the Little Caesars against the Capitals. Saturday night they'll play the Avalanche, and then next week, 2 games next week out west at Denver to play the Avalanche, and Salt Lake City to play the Mammoth, and then we've got the 2-week hiatus for the Winter Olympics in Milan. Devin Larkin played for Team USA, Lucas Raymond for Germany, and Mo Sider for Sweden. Or maybe it's the other way around. Mo Sider for Germany and Lucas Raymond for Sweden. I'm sorry, I got confused there. Sider, Germany, Raymond, Sweden. Okay, all right. Those are the 3 wings that will be participating in the Olympics. Let's hope they don't get hurt. Stay healthy. But you watch the Olympics much? I don't. Anyway, let's get this out of the way here first. I'll mention basketball last night. Michigan and Michigan State both won. Very close games. Michigan State trailed at Rutgers in Piscataway, New Jersey. Most of the game, they had a lucky 3-pointer right at the buzzer in regulation. Won the game in overtime relatively easily. Michigan struggled all night, pretty much last night, with undefeated Nebraska. Finally beat them in the last few minutes of the game. Pulled away. I think Dusty May made a great halftime adjustment. He's a good coach. So anyway, this sets the stage for the big game Friday night at the Breslin. Nationally televised game at 8 o'clock. Number 3, Michigan up against number 7, Michigan State. With a lot at stake. I think Michigan is like a 1.5 favorite. That means nothing. That doesn't mean anything. So, big game. I'm anxious to see what the ratings are going to be for that game, too, by the way. Be on Fox at 8 o'clock, 48 hours from now. Okay. All right. By the way, I know a couple that's been vacationing in Hawaii all month. And they're coming back tomorrow. They're touching down at Metro Airport Friday morning at 6:30. He sent me an image back on my phone earlier today at the resort they're staying at. They said they had just gotten out of the pool. And I thought I'd better give them a heads up. So I told them when they land at Metro Airport Friday morning about 6:30, temperature there will be about 3 or 4 degrees. Actual air temperature will be about 3 or 4 degrees below zero. So I'm just giving them a heads up on that. But got to be rough on your system, you know. It really does. Anyway, let's do this for Quality PC in downtown Hillsdale. We wouldn't be doing this if it were not for their help and their assistance. 37 Walter Street, downtown Hillsdale, 517-610-5372 for all your technical needs, issue sales service. That's the only place to go in our area. Tim Lindley and his staff more than capable of resolving any tech issues you have. And take it from me, they're first class. So lucky to have them here. Anything at all. Computers, new or used, flat screen TV, money programming set up. Perhaps you're changing internet providers. You need that installed. Printers, new or used, anything at all. Get in there and see them. More than capable, as I said, of resolving any issues you have. 517-610-5372, or better yet, get in there and see them at 37 Walton Street, downtown Hillsdale. When you get in there, tell them Miggy and Rick sent you, will you please? Thank you very much. A couple of things before we get out of here. Bill Belichick. The New England Patriots, Bill Belichick, won 6 Super Bowls as the head coach of the New England Patriots. Prior to that, he won 2 more Super Bowls as an assistant coach under Bill Parcells with the New York Giants. That makes 8. The man's got 8 Super Bowl rings. There's only one other coach in the history of the National Football League to win more games than he did. And he's in the Hall. Don Shula, he was the first ballot Hall of Fame inductee, along with the other two were Chuck Noll and the famed longtime coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Tom Landry. Those three. Now, Hall of Fame opened in 1963, and the first class to go in, there were a couple of coaches. George Halas, of course, of the Bears, basically founded the National Football League. And he really did. First year the Bears were in operation, they were not known as the Bears. Who were they? I forget right now, but they didn't become the Bears until 1921. George Halas and Curly Lambeau, the godfather, if you will, of the Green Bay Packers, for whom Lambeau Field is named after, were two of the original inductees in that class of 1963. But the NFL didn't really come into its own. George Halas founded one of the founding fathers of the National Football League in 1920. Didn't really gain recognition until the mid-20s, until the mid-1920s. Little story. Back in and that's back when who was the president back then? Oh, Calvin Coolidge. So one of his top players with the Bears back then was a fellow running back by the name of Red Grange, called the Galloping Ghost. Played at the University of Illinois. Great runner, great football player, really good. Anyway, he was the big star back then with the Chicago Bears. And this would have been 24, 25, 26, somewhere in there. George Halas, head coach of the Bears, and his best player, Red Grange, were invited to a reception at the White House in Washington to meet the president. So here they are standing in the reception line. President was going down the line, shaking hands with everybody. And he had a man there, his assistant or whatever you want to call it, who was introducing him to everybody who was standing in line. And they get down to George Halas and his player, Red Grange. And okay, Mr. President, this is George Halas and Red Grange with the Chicago Bears. And in a story that Red Grange told, okay, immediately after that, President Coolidge stepped up to him and shook his hand and said, "Young man, it's a pleasure to meet you." About acts. Obviously, like I said, the NFL was still in its infancy then. No one knew a whole lot about it. And apparently Calvin Coolidge didn't either. Maybe that's why he chose not to run for a second term. I don't know. I wanted to tell that story. I found that pretty amusing. Before we get out of here, Lions have hired Mike Kafka a week after hiring Drew Petzing as their offensive coordinator. Kafka, I don't know exactly. His role has not been defined yet. Obviously, we'll have something on the offensive side of the ball. Chief offensive advisor, I don't know. I don't know exactly what his position can be defined as right now, but it will be on the offensive side of the ball. Do too many cooks spoil the soup? I don't know. I'm sure they. I'd like to know what Drew Petzing thinks about this, but I do know this, according to what Brad Holmes told Dave Burkett of the Free Press this morning down in Mobile. They're both down there for the. They're both down there for the All-Star game going on this weekend, the college All-Star game, as are mostly other general managers down there as well. But anyway, he ran into Brad Holmes down there, and they had a couple of minutes to chat, and he asked Holmes about Drew Petzing anyway. And Holmes said this was the guy for us. After doing the interviews that we did our due diligence. This is his offense. He's going to call the plays. He came highly recommended. He's, in his words, he said this was the perfect fit for us. Okay. And I think it's good. I think it's a good thing that Dan Campbell can manage the game. Now, look, Drew Petzing came highly recommended, and he was on the same staff of Hank Fraley at Minnesota. I think I've told you this before. And Hank Fraley, I know for a fact, he and Jared Goff both had some input in making this decision. He's best friends with Ben Johnson. He coached together. He was on the same staff with him at Boston College. He was also in his wedding party. So they are the best of friends. I if he'd recommended him. I don't know. There'll be more about that in the weeks ahead. But so right now, the next thing for the NFL will be the combine, which is the final, was it the last few days in February and the first few days in March. And that's about a month away yet. But that may be the next time anyone has an opportunity to talk to either Brad Holmes or Dan Campbell. Okay, I've talked enough. I didn't think I was going to talk this much tonight, but I did. That's going to do it. I will talk to you all again on Friday. Don't forget, every Saturday morning here locally at WCSR 92.1 FM with Andy and Jim from 9 to 10. That's Saturday morning. So I'll talk to you all again. I'll talk to you all again on Friday. Thanks for watching, listening. Remember, please treat each other with respect. Not a whole lot we can do about it, but somehow we will get through this together, won't we? We've got to persevere. Okay. So until Friday night, then, I will wish you all a very pleasant good evening and simply say so long, everybody. Good night. Bye-bye.